Hi class, we're going to be now looking at reflection. So reflection allows us to set up a mirror and reflect our shape across that mirror. So to find the tool, we go down to transformation. There's two reflection options. So we've got reflect around a point and reflect about a line. I recommend we just stick to reflect about the line because reflect around a point is going to also change your object itself, and we don't really want that. So let's use reflect about the line. If I click on this button, you'll see select an object to reflect, then a line of reflection. So what we first need is we need to set up a line that's going to represent our mirror, if you like. So we go and find the line tool over here. It can be a segment or a line. I recommend we just stick to a line. And I'm going to create a nice line like this. And this is going to be our mirror, right? So I'm just going to double check that our numbers are nice. Yes. So this is our mirror. And we're going to mirror this object by this line. So if I now go back to tools, go back to transform and find reflector by the line, we have to click on the object and then click on the line itself. And now it reflected it. It created a mirror version of the object. Just like before, if I were to then move the line for any reason, it's going to reflect it. If my line were angled, it's going to reflect it in a weird angled way, right? Just for information, the way that reflection works is it creates a invisible like vector that checks from the point what's the closest it gets to the line, to the mirror, and then it copies that reflection. Oops. And then it copies that, and oh, I can't do that here. Okay, it copies that exact line and repeats it over here. And that is how it does the same thing for all the points. So it finds a point, finds the closest distance to the mirror, and then it sets that same distance over here, and that is how it creates your mirrored version of it. But yes, essentially it's a mirror, and it'll reflect your whole shape. Lastly, of course, is how do we describe it? So here's where you can get slightly trickier. And depending on your level, where you want to aim for, you might describe it in different ways. Just like before, what we need is we needed the shape, and we need to describe the line that's being reflected around. So the most basic version I could possibly write this is I reflected my arrow by the line H. That would be the most simplest version to describe. However, for higher grade, we want to mathematically describe our line as best as we can. So how do we do this? Well, if I go to GeoGebra, and if we use the line tool, it tells you here, down here, if you find your line tool, and if you click on the line, you can find the highlighted circle, so you can find your line real quick. And you'll see down here, it's written x equals 5. This is the equation of the line. So this is the mathematical equation that describes this line here. Let's test that with one more line. So if I go and create another line, and this only works with lines, so this does not work with segments. But if we create another line, and I go back to GeoGebra and find that line at the bottom, it says here y equals x minus 7. This is the mathematical equation for this line here. So if I want to describe this, if I want to describe my reflection, I might go to and say I reflected my arrow by the line y equals x minus 7. And let me just put this out of the way. Can I move this out of the way? That's fine. So if I were to do a transformation here, reflect about the line, click on the shape, click on the line, this description matches this exact shape. It's as simple as that. So where possible, try and be more mathematically minded. All you have to do is find the line that you want to describe by clicking on the line and looking around until you find the highlighted shape. And you can then find the equation that describes that exact line, and you won't have any issues that way. And that describes. Lastly, why do we do reflections? Well, the whole point of reflection is that we want to get the exact same shape, the exact same size, just of course reflected. So we get to change the orientation, we get to change the position, so that we can get some sort of pattern going on here as well. And that describes reflection.